Hey guys, so time for a quick update. Um, it's been a month. So basically, um, I'm very much enjoying having extra time off. Very much enjoying being able to pretty much do what I want to do. I still live with my folks, so I do end up helping them out quite a bit and all that stuff. But I do enjoy being able to spend time alone. Although I do get a little bit bored every once in a while, and I'm trying to job on it, but it's like I don't know. Like when I Google it, when I Google stuff, it's like most of the Google articles aren't very helpful. They're like, oh no, job is unemployment is down and blah 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 blah, and it's like okay, but it's one of those situations where I just feel like a lot of places are saying that they're hiring, and yet, like, there have been times I've applied for a job and I have not heard anything back. And when I do hear stuff back, it's all stuff like I applied at both Coles. I applied at the Merle Hay one, which is one I used to work at before they moved. And I also played the one out in Clive. That was an experience. So I applied, and Kohl's, Kohl's and Target are pretty good about, they keep in contact with you via text message. So it's like I would get these text messages, blah, blah, blah. We picked you to come in for an interview, or pick your time. And so I picked the time. And it said to go to the Kohl's store that I wanted to work at. And so I went. Turns out the person who was supposed to interview me wasn't there. And she didn't even tell anybody that I was coming. So, and it was for, because a lot of Kohl's stores now have the Sephora section. And it's kind of one of those weird, they're part of the store, but yet they're their own thing, kind of. So I went in, went up to the, customer service, which is what the text message told me to. And then the gal came in and she said, you know who you're supposed to interview with? And I said, no, I didn't get a name. I was just told to come in at this time and blah, blah, blah. And so she walks me over to the Sephora counter. And there was this young guy working there, and he was a sweetheart. He was very nice. But I mean, like, young guy, like barely out of teenager, maybe. But yeah, young guy. And so, and so he took me into the back and interviewed me and all that stuff. But then here's the weird thing. Like, because for some reason their part-time jobs right now are only like 10 to like 18 hours a week. And then, but when you work full-time, and this is what I find hysterical, because full-time, you don't work the full 40 hours. They keep you under that so they don't have to pay, health insurance and all that stuff. But So if you're full time, you work pretty much the amount of hours I was working at Casey's, which was very close to 40, and probably about 40 when you count the overtime I was doing and stuff. So we were interviewing. I thought it went really well, and I was I was talking to the guy. I thought, getting along. Yeah, he was listening to me and all that stuff, and then I was like, so, and then he starts in asking. He he said well, I know you want to work full time. I had to correct him, and I said, I really only want to work part time right now, you know. And then he was like, well, if you know, we need people in different departments and all that stuff. And I was just like, uh, so, we'll have you maybe interview with our store manager or whatever, and she can, maybe you can work some more hours working in another department. And I'm like, that sounds a little sus to me. Because, well, and again, like, I don't get why the part time jobs hours are so small, and yet the full time hour, there's this huge gap from, like, because, like, the full time hours was like 35 to 38 hours a week, and it's like, I don't want to work full time. I've done my time, if that makes sense. I've done my time, I feel, with that, with me working 6 years at Walgreens for full time, and for the year I was working full time at Casey's. And I want to go back to working part time. And so, because I do, and I realize how privileged I am, but I don't have a lot of cost, Like, my biggest cost is going to Target every so often. Like, I just went there later on today to buy a Father's Day card for Dad and buy a gift card for my sister because her birthday's coming up. And and that's the other thing I should probably mention. My sister and my niece got Florida okay. They're settling in. Everything's great. She started a new job working down there. Um, I don't think she's back to where she wants to be, but she is definitely working full time, I believe. And so I think they're getting along, and everything seems to be fine. So I don't know. So that's all good. But, which, I mean, I'm happy they're doing good, and I'm happy that they're out of the house. But at the same time, I kind of liked having her as a shield, so to speak, because mom and dad would just focus on her and Shay most of the time, and then they left me to do my own shenanigans and all that. So it's kind of nice being the only, you know, the only offspring in the house still. But at the same time, it's just kind of like, oh, look over there. Especially because earlier today I had to go to Target and get those two things for presents. and stuff. And then I had to, and then as I was driving, because the other day I went and I applied for online for a job at a hotel that is really close to where we live and would not be that far at all to drive, and I could probably even walk there, maybe, you know, with a little bit more practice and exercise and stuff. But yeah, so I've been, excuse me, so, but we have this one road that connects to where our house is that has a couple of fast food restaurants, that has a bunch of hotels. And so I was like, I'm going to drive down the street and I'm going to remember and write down the names of those hotels, and then maybe I'll apply to them. Because it doesn't hurt to apply. Although, like I said, I just, it's weird. It's one of those things where it's like, companies are posting jobs, but yet they're not hiring, which is really weird. It can be really confusing because it's like, like I applied to it's called the Stony Creek Inn, which is right next to the movie theater that we all go to. When there's movies that come out that we want to watch. And so it's like right across the parking lot, So, but it's just weird. It's like I applied there like earlier this week and I haven't gotten anything except for an automated text saying thank you for applying. Please await next steps or whatever. And it's like, I've not had a single phone call. I've not been invited for an interview, nothing. And it's to the point right now where I'm just thinking, yeah, I'll keep applying to places that pique my interest and maybe expand my search beyond just working in a retail store. But at the same time, I'm not. At the same time, I'm not like, it's. I'm not job searching multiple companies multiple times a day. Because it's just frustrating. It's just frustrating to just. I applied at Target, both the one down the road, and then I even applied to the one that's out of Myrtle Hay Mall. And they were the best. They at least, let me interview, although their interview process is kind of interesting. They have you interview online, but you don't actually talk to a person. What they do is they have one of their people record like questions, and then they give you time to reply to those questions, and you record your own responses. And I do kind of like that because you have the chance of doing multiple takes. Like if you're talking, you're umming and ahhing a lot, or if you stutter or forget what you're gonna say, you can erase that and start over again. So I like that. But it was just like the silence. Like it took, like I played probably in like the first, like I applied at the Target down there at the mall like about a month ago, and I, you know, was like, I put in the application online, which is what they want you to do, and then I had to wait. Didn't hear a thing. Didn't hear a thing. Finally, and well, and the other problem is because for some reason Target, like, they didn't, like, I try to use my Yahoo email address for pretty much everything now because I lost my Mediacom address. I can't figure out how to get that back on to my computer or my phone, which is fine. And then I have what's the other and then the other one is my MSN address, which is a really old one that I've had for like really long time. I don't really like using it because I don't really like the way MSN does that whole thing. But so, but anyway, so I applied and I waited and I waited. And it's like I said, Target, I couldn't just, like, I could sign in to the Target employee hub kind of thing, um, applicant hub kind of thing. And so I would do that under my Yahoo email address, but then they were communicating with me they had to communicate with me through my MSN email address, and I'm not sure why they couldn't just communicate with me through Yahoo. I don't know. But anyway, so, and to make things worse, when I first got my new computer, I was having major issues logging into MSN. So, but finally got it figured out, and so I applied to one of the jobs that they had advertised, and they um sorry, lost my train of thought there. So they basically were just like, oh, so finally they replied back, and I think it took like a few weeks. It wasn't just like the next day, boom, but it took like a few weeks. And then they sent me we'd like you to interview, blah, 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 and I was able to do that, send them my stuff, and that was good. And then again, silence. Didn't hear a thing. And finally, and this is daily me checking my MSN address and being like, okay, am I gonna hear today? Am I gonna, and not, and finally they sent me thank you for applying, but we decided to go in another direction, blah, blah, blah. And so I'm like, okay. But it's like most of the places I've applied to have not even, like, bothered getting in touch with me. And I'm just like, okay. Because for a while there, it was definitely a job seeker's market. And, we have more power to be like, I want better pay, I want da 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 da. Well, apparently the companies didn't like that too much, and they're now taking back the power and wanting to confuse. See, I don't get this. I don't get where this makes any sort of sense. Because the way they're acting is like, yeah, we're gonna act like we want you. We're gonna act like we're hiring, and then we're gonna not be. We're just gonna ghost you. And it's like, why would I want to work for a company that just doesn't even bother talking to me? You know? So I've been kind of just not caring as much, or trying not to care as much lately, because I'm busy. I'm trying to write more. Matter of fact, I've got a new character app going on right now that I started yesterday on the Marvel thread. I'm trying to get a replacement character for a character that I dropped last, or either the last activity check or the activity check before that, and I haven't replaced him yet. So that's what I'm doing now. And so, I'm trying to write more. I went to the ear doctor again the other day. I had been there in May to get my ears checked, and apparently my ear has had some damage, and they were talking about ear hearing aids, which I'm just like, I don't think I need hearing aids. I think most of it is just my ears get filled with wax super easy, and I need to have them cleaned. So this time, just a couple days ago, actually on the 15th, I went in to the doctor's and had my ears cleaned. Then they tested me again, and apparently it was a little bit better this time. So, which was a relief to me, although he did still say, yeah, hearing aids would be good for you, but I'd also told everybody in the office there that I'm moving to England eventually, once we get the visa, and he was like, well, let's wait, because your hearing seems to be better now, and if you need cleaning again, just contact us and we'll fit you in. And so, because the hearing aids they have over here are apparently, from what I've heard, different than the hearing aids they have over in the UK. And of course, batteries are different, that kind of thing. So I think they were thinking, oh, okay, we'll let her do that when she's over there, and hopefully they will let me transfer my records over there so that I can just give them to whoever I decide to go to in the future. And I'll be like, here you go, be able to just hand it to them, and they'll be able to look and be like, oh, okay, so this is what they did, and and then we'll be able to go from there. If my hearing deteriorates further, they can go at it from there. And hold on a second. My parents are out of the house, but I'm going to make sure they're not. Okay, they haven't moved. Because I'm taking advantage of being alone in the house, and I was like, I'm going to record a video tonight. So yeah, it just so it's like I've been doing stuff. I've been keeping busy. I've been shopping. Went shopping the other day for new spring pajamas to wear because I've been going through my stuff, as I've, you know, reducing the excess and stuff that I don't wear anymore or stuff that's old. And I got rid of a pair of pajamas that my mom had given me years ago. Um, Comfy, but they were getting old and kind of set into stains and stuff. And I'm just like, yeah, I think it's time to get something else. So, and I mean, I have to admit, it's been nice to be able to. Basically, the only thing I have to worry about now when it's like, okay, I want to go shopping for this or I want to do this is, will I have the car? When will I have the car? Because pretty much every day of the week I will have the car to some extent. Matter of fact, I have the car now. It's what I used earlier to go to Target and do stuff. And so it's been nice. It's been nice to be able to go do those things without feeling stressed out or without feeling like, okay, I have time to run and do this real quick before work. But then I don't really have time to shop. I don't really have time to look at things and compare and be like, okay, is this what I want? Is this what I want? Kind of thing. Usually, back when I worked and I went to Target, it was okay, run through not run, but walk as fast as I could through the aisles, throw stuff into my car, hit the self checkout, boom, bang, boom, we're done. So it's been nice to be able to relax a little bit more, to be able to write more often, to be able to do stuff. Now, the other thing that it had the thought of was maybe volunteering somewhere. But here's the other weird thing. Like, I haven't been able to find any volunteer opportunities. And I mean, I do get it. It is summer. I am probably late to the party, as they would say. Because a lot of places, like we have Living History Farms out here, which is an outdoor thing where people dress up in like pioneer type costumes, and we have stuff that looks like American Indians camp. Uh, we have a town. We have a place where you can camp or hike or whatever. And they have basically guides to do that stuff. I was looking at that stuff, and number one, I'm not really hang out all day in the outdoors with the bugs and the heat and all that stuff. That's not fun. And like, apparently you need to like almost be an expert in history or in like basket weaving or whatever the jobs are that they're, hey, you need to be able to, and that makes sense. You want to be able to interact with the audience or the guest, and you want to be able to be like, okay, you want to be able to tell the accurate story of the history and all that, which I definitely understand. I don't know. I'm just kind of. It's just kind of one of those. Like, I've been looking at historical societies, I've been looking at the art center, I've been looking at, and it's like almost nobody's hiring. And like, I finally found the career page for the art center the other day, and they're looking for two people. One is a full time kind of guide. I forget, they called it a specific term. I don't remember what that is, but it's kind of like living history farms. You have to know a lot about art, and you have to be able to, this painter, blah, 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 and be able to regurgitate facts and all that. And it's like, that would be fun, but I don't have a lot of experience in that. In fact, I have no experience in that. I've just been to the art center a few times and always enjoyed it when I've gone, but like, I haven't been, like, I can't just rattle off things. I can't rattle off dates and even on the artist side, I do kind of know. I don't really know, like, Vincent Van Gogh. Most of his facts I know from watching one Doctor Who episode. And it's like, I don't want to. Like, as much as I would want to tell people, So the 11th Doctor took his companion back to meet Vince Van Gogh, and they got to know him, and he got involved and knew about the end of the universe and the TARDIS exploding and all that stuff. And it's just, I don't think that's what the art center would want. I think they want more factual stuff, So, darn. But yeah, I'm to the point right now where I will look up places. Like, if I'm driving by somewhere and I see something and I think, oh, that could be interesting or whatever. And like I said, I'm trying to go beyond my usual scope of working in a retail store. But, like, it just seems like a lot of places right now are either, like, they have jobs posted, but they're not really hiring, or they're not hiring me. And I don't want to go into a pity party or anything like that, or because dwelling on it has gotten me nothing but frustration and being unable to sleep, and no thank you. So, but like, and I do realize that I do have a hurdle to overcome with the fact that I was fired from my last job for apparently being rude to the customers. And I get where that might be kind of a hurdle, but I don't know, it's just hard because, like I said, with most places I've applied at so far or interviewed with, wherever, there has been very little to no interaction. I mean, like I said, I applied online to a front desk position just down the road, and I have yet to hear anything about. I've yet to get a phone call. I've yet to get whatever. But I'm gonna tell you guys the kind of the weirdest experience I've had is because, I've worked for a Walgreens for 6 years and before I quit. And so there's Walgreens just a few blocks away from where I live, easy drive distance. Um, and it's a place where I have my prescriptions and all that. Um, so it's like I'm there depending on the time. I'm there on the relatively frequent basis. And but it's like I have applied at that place numerous times, even before I was fired from Casey's. And I've applied and like received just radio silence. Like nobody's bothered getting in touch with me or anything. And so, but here's the weird thing. Because I was, what was I? I was either coming out of there or going in there one time, probably to pick up a prescription or to pick up some random things or whatever. And I happened to notice that they had two little signs up in the front door, front and center. Everybody could see them. Hiring, customer service associate, and oh, I forget what they call it, but it's a lead position. Because a few years ago, Walgreens got rid of their assistant manager position, and now they have, what do they call it, an emerging store manager, which I think is pretty much the same thing as the assistant manager, but I'm not 100% sure on that. And they have the lead positions, and those are kind of like the assistant managers or the supervisors. And like they can do several things, but they can't do everything that the store manager or the emerging store manager does. And so, when I went home, I went online and applied for the customer service position. And again, I heard nothing. Literally heard nothing. And so, and you guys can kind of understand, not just kind of, you can understand that just doing that time and time again just it beats me down. I do not like job hunting. I do not recommend it. So again, I'm kind of at that point where if I see something interesting or if like I see an advertisement like on TV or on the computer or whatever, I'll give it a shot, but I'm not holding my breath, if that makes sense. So, but yeah. Oh, and the other thing I've been doing, the other kind of fun thing I've been doing, I've been playing more games, playing more online games. I've got Nine Woods, which I've already played a couple of times. I'm considering playing it again because there's differences depending on different actions that you take. Some of them it doesn't really matter, but like, so basic story and spoiler warning, and also recommendation. I recommend Nine in the Woods. It is such a good game. I wish that there, oh, and also, like I was about to say, I wish there was a sequel. they're coming out with another game, and I believe it's set in the same universe, but perhaps in the distant past. Um, the one that's coming out is called Revenant Hill, and it's about a cat that looks kind of like May in Night in the Woods, but it's an actual cat. You know how in Night in the Woods they have all the characters are represented as animals, but they're but they walk and talk, and they act like humans, but they're portrayed as animals. And so basically in Revenant Hill, Twigs, who is going to be our main character, and it's also feline, but that one's going to be more of the main character being an actual cat. But the cool thing about the game is that apparently Twigs' goal in life is to become a witch's familiar. But, of course, Night in the Woods fans are like all, well, it's gotta be connected, and not just because Twigs looks like May. But here's the thing. The trailer dropped a few weeks ago for Revenant Hill, and everybody watching it was like, and I'm on Reddit a lot, y'all might meet me on there as Hero Streamer, but so in Revenant Hill, the trailer is Twigs running across different screens, and different things are going on in the background. One of the things that goes on, one of the screens that she runs across, I don't know their gender yet, I don't know. But anyway, he, she, they. But yeah, so one of the scenes are a bunch of people protesting in front of a factory with people, I'm assuming police, standing out to the side with guns. And so here comes the spoiler. In Night in the Woods, in Night in the Woods, May's grandfather, she finds out information about him. She finds out that he was involved in, that he used to work in the mines right outside of town, and that conditions were so horrible, and the mine bosses were like, didn't care about the safety of their workers and all that. And so May finds out that her grandfather protested against the unfair treatment of the workers and all that. As a matter of fact, I won't give it away completely, but it starts out with May getting off the bus at Possum Springs, making her way home, and then she's talking to her dad over the next few days, and it's like, can you move the boxes out of the crawl space? Once her dad finally moves the boxes, May goes in there, she opens up the safe, finds a tooth. Oh, I probably. But anyway, spoiler warning. If you do not want to be spoiled, go and play the game. I guarantee it's such an amazing experience. It's so good. But anyway, so May finds a tooth in the safe. Turns out to be connected to her grandfather and the protests that he was involved in. And that's all I'm going to say. You have to play the game. And believe me, I wouldn't leave you hanging if the game wasn't worth play. But it is so worth playing. And it's funny because, you play the game and you're like, okay, so it's just wandering around talking to different people and all that. Yeah, but there are so many little hidden areas. I won't spoil this one, but like one of the things you get told not to do, but you can still do, is climb on the power lines. And you can reach this certain window, and you open the window, and you're rooting around there, and you make a discovery, and you can get an achievement off of this discovery, and it's pretty darn cool. But, you just explore, and a lot of it's a little bit of platforming. I wouldn't call it like classic platforming, like a Mario game or something, but it's platforming in a sense. It's like you jump onto roofs and you walk across power lines to reach other areas, and you sneak into. You open up windows that are like cracked open or whatever, and make discoveries and all that stuff. And the other really cool thing is, because May comes back home, and she has 2 friends, and the game kind of diverges based on which friend you hang out with. I think it doesn't change the end of the game, but there's a difference between who you hang out with, because there's Greg, who is May's best friend. They've hung out together multiple times. And, here's the interesting thing. Greg is mainly a symbol of how May wants things to be. Because she basically comes home, drops out of college, and wants to come home where it's familiar, where she feels safe, where she feels comfortable. And Greg is that. He is comfortable. He is. And not to say they don't take risks, because they take plenty of risks. They do crimes. And again, it's nothing bad. They don't rob banks or anything like that, but they play games out in the woods where they try to stab each other's hands with knives, or they break light bulbs and that kind of thing. And there's this, it's like, I've done Greg's route, and that's fun because Greg is married. Not married, but he's gay. And he has a boyfriend. and his boyfriend is very practical, very no nonsense, very scientific, that kind of thing. But, and Greg's boyfriend name is Angus. Angus is a bear. Greg is a dog or a fox? I'm not entirely sure. Fox dog, maybe? So, anyway, if you do the Greg route, you get involved in crimes, and that makes Angus mad. But due to Angus's past, he doesn't really talk about his feelings because he used to get abused for talking about his feelings. So basically Angus and Greg are planning on moving out of Possum Springs, which is their town, their home. They're planning on moving out and starting over, living a new life. And Angus, by the end of the Greg route, you find out that Angus is mad because maybe back home and jumping right into what's familiar and committing crimes and all that could be jeopardizing their dream of leaving town and all that. So, May learns a lesson and basically is like, I'll come visit you guys. And, we assume they come back to visit her as well. But if you do the B route, now, B is a crocodile. B is very pragmatic, very much wanting things to change, desperately wanting things to change and trying to work under the covers to change things, but there's only so much she can do. And B's gig, and I won't really spoil it, but B is stuck in Possum Springs. And so when May comes back after dropping out of college, B takes it the entirely wrong way. She was jealous of May because May got to leave Possum Springs. And B wants to leave Possum Springs. Like, she wants to get out of there. And there's a point toward the end of the B route, which I know about because I've seen other people play this, where you find out that B's basically been pretending to be a college student. Like, she goes to these parties out of town and pretends to be a college student, and then that gets wrecked. And so, and May is like, and keep in mind, all through this game, May is not really saying why she left college. But there is a point, and this comes more than halfway through the game, where she's laying on the couch, and depending on who you hung out with, whether it was Greg or me, you're laying on the couch with that person and you're talking to them. And in May's past, there was this big incident that happened. And like you quickly find out that all the main characters, well, May and her friends basically, are all suffering from different things, different mental health issues, I'm gonna say. And there are theories about this. So if you go online and look up, Night in the Woods theories, you'll be able to find some good ones. But it's just basically like I don't know how to really say it. It's like I want people to play this game. It is such a good game. And it's one of those games that's like I mean I played it twice. I remember the second time playing it through coming across areas that I had no idea were in the game. And like you go in certain areas and you can talk to this older lady who knew May's grandfather, and she tells stories about him and everything. And I, I think my personal theory is that she was sweet on him, that she liked him. Whether or not they dated, I don't know. But I think she liked him, at least. But yeah, so she's basically. So there's all these different things, and you go through the town every day and you talk to pretty much the same people, but then you keep running into other people who, you know. And one of the things I like about this game is that because he did like a Kickstarter for it, when they were first coming out with it. And if you contributed a certain amount to the Kickstarter, they put those people in the game. And every once in a while, it's not every day, but every once in a while, you'll be walking around and all of a sudden you'll see somebody new and you can approach them and start talking to them. And everything from a lizard guy who's just like, sometimes I just put my arms out and let the winds blow through me, And then there's like your typical NPCs, people who you talk to, but they don't really contribute. And then there's the hidden part of the game, which quickly becomes the revealed part of the game. Close to, I think it's the first day May gets back. Like, she comes back late at night, and then that first day she goes off to see everybody and explore. And so her and her friends go to the diner, and they eat, and they walk out, and they find an arm on the ground. And you are very quickly going, oh, that's interesting. So all under the surface, there's like this ripple of there's something else going on. I'm not quite sure what it is. And then at the very end of the game, you find out what the mystery is, and it kind of blew my mind the first time I played. I was like, what? Excuse me. And so, but yeah, so I've been playing that game a lot. I might play it again because I want to play Beast Route now. There's also another game that I discovered from browsing Steam called Strange Horticulture, which is set in Victorian times. And it's kind of like Papers, Please. It's kind of formatted the same way. but instead of a border patrol person, your character is a horticulturist who inherits a shop from their uncle, and like it's got witches, it's got a secret society who lives in the woods, and you have to help them. And well, you don't have to, but you can. It's very choice based game, which I like. And then there's a cult that's involved in this game, and just all kinds of different. It's another game I would highly recommend. It is really good. And so now now I play both of those games like twice, and I'm like, I want to play something else. And but the issue is I have a Mac, so and a lot of games that are on Steam at least are not available on the Mac. So for the Mac, I should say. So it's kind of one of those, well, what should I do? And I keep looking, and there's different things. Like, I kind of want to download Undertale because I've never played it. But I just don't know if. Like, we're watching a lot of people play it. I don't know if it's. If I can find anything new with it. You know what I mean? It's like, and I know I would not do the genocide route because, no. No, I'm not killing innocent monsters. No. But, there's that whole thing. So, I don't know. I guess I'm just kind of trying to figure out what to do next. Like, I'd like to play another game. I'm trying to write as much as I can. And yeah, I've been going out to dinner with my friend Lisa. So that's been fairly nice. So Lisa, I love her, but she's always just like giving me a hard time because I'm not in England yet. It's like, there's nothing I can do. I would be there if I could, you know. But, and then there's that whole thing about, because at the beginning, it was like, I knew that I needed to be working to prove to UK government that I'm a productive member of society. And then I lost my job. And then Keith and I have been talking, and he apparently talked to his solicitor, and they said that that it should be okay, that I just need to be doing something to prove that I'm willing to work. And that's kind of in part why I'm doing this video, is because, like, I'm trying to decide if I want to make YouTube a career, like an actual job. But I don't know unless I upload. So, but yeah, and then that would involve a whole slew of things, you know, applying for that. And the nice thing about that is they probably wouldn't give a crap if I was fired from a job for yelling at customers, which I never did, by the way. I never did actually yell at customers. But, considering that I've never yelled at you guys, so I've ranted a little bit, and I appreciate you guys listening. But yeah, so, but yeah, I'm just trying different things, trying to see what I can do. If I can find something to do in the meantime, so I'm not so bored or stuck here in front of my computer all day. But yeah, so anyway, I think I'm gonna log off for now. I think this video has probably gotten long enough. Um, but yeah, it's good to talk to you guys. Good to get a lot of this stuff out, And yeah. So I'll keep you guys updated, of course. Um we'll see what happens next. And yeah. So have a good night, you guys. Thanks for listening. I love y'all. And good night.